listening to the Agent Survival Guide podcast, a podcast for today's insurance agents. Informing, educating, empowering, improving the way you do business in an industry that's anything but static. In today's episode, life changes set up a great opportunity to talk with your clients about coverage changes. And it's not just life insurance that we can apply this strategy to. Life stage and circumstance changes can also uncover health insurance needs. Bobby Nerem from Integrity Life and Annuities LLC and Danica Stover from Ritter Insurance Marketing recently joined me to talk about life stages and how agents can cross-sell through every stage of life. Here's our conversation.
Hello, my name is Danica Stover. I am Director of Product Sales with Ritter Insurance Marketing. I oversee our product sales teams focused in the under 65, what we call our more than Medicare products, which includes ancillary and life products, as well as Medicare Advantage, Medicare Supplement. But I do consider myself to be somewhat more of a specialized focus in the under 65 space.
That's great. Danica, we're so happy to have you here. My name is Bobby Nerem. I am the Vice President of Life Sales at Integrity Life and Annuities. We are the life and annuity hub for Integrity and all of its member partners. I work throughout the organization to help with all life operations. I support everything from agent contracting to commissions being paid.
Very glad that you're both here with us today. One of the things that, as we're talking about annuities in general, right now, we've been having this conversation about how agents really need to have a diverse portfolio just because of what the market is going through these days, whichever side of it you're on. So can we look at the basics of life and annuity products? You know, sometimes I think we get in this mode where we think we need to do all of our business within the open enrollment period, especially if we're just starting out. But for the most of us that have been in the business for a little bit longer, we know that there are other opportunities to get people enrolled. So can we talk about the rules around how we enroll people in life products or how we enroll them in annuity products?
Yeah, the health side does have a majority of the focus on that period of open enrollment. Life insurance and annuities can be sold anytime. There really is no period where it starts or stops. It is seasonal, as a lot of industries are. It tends to be that during the summer, there's a little bit of a lull. That's just because you're seeing a lot of clients maybe on vacation or busy with sports. So you tend to not see as much of the volume of applications and people entering into contracts and taking policies during the summer. But for the most part, your average agent is selling 24/7, 365 days out of the year.
So if we are looking to make some of those changes outside of the open enrollment period, if we're looking at from selling individual health insurance standpoint, how are we able to do those enrollments? How do we do that outside of the open enrollment?
Great question. And that really comes down to qualifying life events or QLEs most of the time. So people can still enroll and make changes if they have a qualifying life event. Common examples of that could be getting married, having a baby, moving, losing primary health coverage like employer-sponsored coverage, or even changes to their income that impact their subsidies. So when you look at just one person or one household, they might only experience those types of events occasionally, but across the under 65 population, they're happening very often. So there's a steady flow of opportunity on that year round. And when a client does have a QLE, that's where working with an agent is really important because you can help them to update their marketplace application. They are going to have documentation to support that change and then walk them through their plan options.
Now, when we're thinking about qualifying life events, how can I find people who are in this stage of life where they are having this qualifying life event? How do we really know, or are we able to figure that out as agents? Is that the approach that we want to be taking when we're thinking about how we can get them covered? Or is there maybe a different way to frame it and think about it so that we are looking for maybe a larger group of people rather than this small, narrow definition?
Yeah, I think it does take a more holistic approach to not just looking at their health needs in that life change. There might be financial implications. You're having a baby, you have a family that you might be looking for income protection or replacement for. So that does come in and become a factor there as well. From the health side of things, what I would say with that is, in terms of identifying those people, it's going to be your existing book of business. And that's a really good point too. A lot of people, when you talk about cross-selling or offering other products, we think, I need to find new prospects or new people to work with. Many of these opportunities may already exist in your book of business. And one of the best tips or suggestions for agents in the health insurance marketplace that they should be doing with their clients is, anytime there is any type of change in their life circumstances, income, they should be reaching out to you as an agent to guide them on that. One, because that's an opportunity for you to advise them holistically on their needs. But two, because when you're enrolled through the marketplace, and especially if you're getting subsidies on your premiums, you need to report those in real time to make sure you're not impacted at tax time the next year and owe money back.
So if there are those different points where we can enter, hey, we're in this stage of life, this is what we do when we're here, how does that access line up to those different stages of life? Because I think sometimes we hear that, yeah, we should be selling to stages of life that people are in, but how do those things line up and what should we be looking for?
So I think those qualifying life events naturally line up with major life changes because they create that QLE. So one big example would be when someone turns 26. That's when they lose access to be covered under their parents' insurance plan if they don't have their own. So a lot of times that's when someone's getting coverage on their own for the first time. They're completely new to things. They need to evaluate what their needs are as an individual as opposed to what they had under their family. Getting married, I know I mentioned that earlier, is a great example. Now you've got two people combining households. That brings new health coverage needs and new financial considerations. So really, as people are moving through those stages, they're not just changing their health insurance, they're creating new needs for that financial protection as well.
Bobby, let's bring you in here, because as they're moving through these stages and hitting these different opportunities where they're able to change their health coverage, how do their life insurance needs change as they're moving through those different life stages?
I think Danica nailed it as far as when these different life stages or these different life events happen, it changes not only the financial situation, right? But it may also change a relationship. And life insurance at its core really protects people and relationships, right? That's why people get life insurance. It's obviously not for them to be in a better financial situation after they actually need the insurance, right? There's something behind that I'm going to say 100% of the time is relationship based. And that's whether it's your children, your descendants, your spouse, or even thinking about it where it's from a business standpoint, right? Maybe you have a business succession plan put in place, or what's called a buy-sell, right? Where there's two owners in a business and one were to pass away. It's an arrangement where life insurance is used to basically buy out the beneficiaries of the owner that passed away. It's all around a relationship, whether it be the remaining owner's relationship with the surviving spouse or their relationship with the business, right? And so those change over time, especially in life insurance. It may change gradually as well, right? The kids are born, the kids go through high school, the kids go off to college, the kids get married, the kids are out of the house. Sometimes it's a gradual process as well. So what you want to protect changes over time and events. So Life insurance provides a few protections, right? Not only the death benefit, there's a cash value, so you're going to have a financial protection, and there's living benefits, which can be utilized to access funds in certain situations. But it's always for the benefit of a person, and all the people and their situations are different. Life insurance is the protection, and that's always consistent. That's always there. Life insurance is always the mechanism that's going to be offering a benefit or a value, right? But the why is always different. The motivation behind it is always different. So as you go throughout these different life stages, the reason why you might have life insurance is going to change, but that need is always present. So it does fit everybody. I think it's important to frame life insurance around life stages instead of taking just that one size fits all approach, because people see value in life insurance at different stages in their life, right? If you're young and married, you're going to have needs for life insurance. You're going to have certain motivations or things you want to protect. And that might be different when you have grandbabies, right? But life insurance is always that mechanism that's going to provide that need to protect them. You might be in your 50s and you see the value of tax-free funds in retirement, right? To be able to access a pool of funds without it changing your tax bracket. And in your 50s, you think that's great. I can't wait to have that, right? You get to retirement though, and now all of a sudden, maybe the motivation is leaving a legacy to your loved ones, or leaving funds to a charity or a church, or preserving your estate, right? How can I pass this on to the next generation? So all these life stages are constantly going on, and there's always going to be a need and a motivation, but life insurance always solves that need at its core. It's just, why are we doing it?
Gotcha. You gave some really good examples there of some of those different life stages. Can we dive in a little bit deeper there with an example? You did mention having clients who are married. Say they're married, now they're expecting their first child. They reach out to you, they want help with their health insurance. What are some life insurance opportunities that could naturally come up when you're talking with this married couple that's expecting their first child?
Sure. Great question, Sarah. As far as different ideas or concepts or solutions, there are some pretty consistent needs in that type of a situation, right? I think it's important for us as agents, with our clients' best interest at hand, to have those conversations and to probe our clients about situations that may occur, right? What I mean here is, what is your plan, right? What is your plan if, say, one of the parents were to pass away, right? Have you considered the consequences of that? It's our job. Insurance protects, right? That's what it does. It's a protection at its genesis. So having those conversations and making people realize, because specifically in the example you said, Sarah, right? You're getting married, and sometimes you're buying a home, and you've just started the career, and you get blessed with children, and all this stuff is going on, right? And you're focused on all of this and making sure everything comes together. Oftentimes you're not thinking, what do I need to protect? Or what am I going to do if something were to happen? So utilizing life insurance in this type of situation, first and foremost, is income protection, right? So if one of the spouses were to pass away, how is the surviving spouse going to replace that income, right? That's a thought that they need to have. That's something they need to talk about, right? Because if you don't, then what you're doing is you're putting a burden on that surviving spouse as well as the children to accommodate that reduction in income, change your lifestyle, right? And sometimes that chaos can cause major problems. Not everybody has an extensive network of support and help. So I think protecting that income is not just about the dollars and cents in the bank account, right? It's about, where do you park your car at night? It's about, who are your neighbors? It's about, where are you going to the grocery store? It's stuff of that nature. So income protection is more than just the dollars and cents behind the insurance, but it's really allowing the surviving spouse and children to maintain their current lifestyle. So that's the first one that I think people need to pay attention to. Secondary would be liability protection. Okay, they go hand in hand. Again, it's hitting the bank account. Again, it's hitting the budget. But what are we doing with the $150,000, $200,000 mortgage? And I live in central Iowa, and our price of homes aren't quite what they are in the East Coast or the West Coast, but There's people with $600,000-$700,000 homes or mortgages on their homes. What's the plan for that debt should one of the incomes be removed from the situation? So having something in place to also protect from the liabilities, income protection, liability protection, and those are both financial that kind of go hand in hand. But looking a little bit further down the road, one of the things that I would say in that situation they need to be thinking about is cash accumulation, right? What's the plan in the future for this child to buy a home, right? To maybe provide them with a down payment or to pay for tuition, right? Whether that be at a public university, a private university, the trades, whatever it may be, right? How are we going to finance that? That's something that needs to be considered. Also, what about a wedding, right? Everything we do in this life, in this country, is just getting more expensive as the days go on. So one of the benefits that life insurance can offer also is cash accumulation. You know, I tell people life insurance is really its own asset class. It's not necessarily an investment as one would think of an investment, right? Bond, stocks, up, down, that type of thing. It's more of its own asset class. And to be able to have a mechanism or a vehicle that can help you accumulate cash at the same time accomplishing this protection is unparalleled. That's why it's its own asset class as opposed to an investment, in my humble opinion. Lastly, I think at that younger age, what a lot of times we don't think about is living benefits, right? God forsake someone were called home early and they become terminally ill, right? What's the plan to finance some of that or to try to get your ducks in a row before they pass away? What if we were to, have a stroke, right? Everybody knows somebody who was in a situation that had a tough go or something completely unexpected, some sort of critical situation. What if you get diabetes, asthma, ALS? It goes on, right? As far as these things that life can throw at you. Life insurance, permanent life insurance specifically, offers what's called living benefits. And these are just another way that insurance can be utilized to protect you from the unforeseen future. So in that type of situation, why I love permanent life insurance is, you prepare for the worst days and you plan for the best, right? So you take out a permanent life insurance policy and it gives you that peace of mind that your surviving family is protected from an income standpoint, a liability standpoint. And then it gives you that peace of mind that, hey, we're moving towards something in the future as well, in accumulating cash in this policy that's going to give you protection as well down the road. And then on top of that, if something unforeseen should come, you can access those funds through living benefits as well prior to death. And that's just another added layer of protection. Most young parents and young married couples, they don't think about that as well, right? So I think it's our job as agents. I talk to a lot of agents and agencies throughout the country, and you see this mindset shifting to where agents are understanding the value and the need to be a holistic agent, right? Mm-hmm. Not only to serve your clients to the best of your abilities, but also then to protect your business, right? The last thing you want to do as a health agent with a sizable ACA or Medicare book is enter another agent into the situation that they sell life insurance, right? So I think you're seeing this kind of transformation or evolution within the industry, the insurance industry, where agents are seeing the value of becoming holistic agents. And part of that is, in my opinion, and I know Danica and her organization share the same, putting the client first, right? And in Absolutely. That, we need to know that, hey, if these potential downfalls are in front of our clients, we need to make them aware of it.
Absolutely. We hear people say a lot about always be selling. I think always be educating is a way better way to look at it, that anytime you can be a resource for your clients, that's absolutely what you want to be. Danica, can we take a look at that situation, but let's flip it around a little bit here. Say we have a client, we have them on a life insurance policy, and they come in and they say, hey, I'm ready to retire. This is my plan. But they've done really well in their life, so they're not quite at the age of actual retirement and being able to get on Medicare. How do we take that and use that as an opportunity to talk about health insurance coverage?
Yeah, so this can be a common situation, especially when someone's retiring before they're eligible for Medicare and they're in that scenario where they are losing employer coverage. And a lot of times we see that as a husband and wife or a married couple, that one person has the primary health insurance. They're both covered under that. So not only is the person that's retiring impacted, but the household. as well. So in that case, main options typically are going to be COBRA, individual marketplace coverage, or sometimes short-term medical and ancillary products can be a solution. So marketplace coverage is often a strong option, especially if we're talking about households that qualify for premium tax credits or individuals managing ongoing health conditions. You mentioned if you got somebody that maybe has some wealth or items that they've saved up and they're at a point in their life where they are ready to retire early financially, they probably aren't in that boat of qualifying for subsidies. So that might be one of those situations where you are looking at alternative options there. And really, there is no one size fits all approach. Some clients may use short-term or ancillary products to help bridge that gap until Medicare eligibility. And that's something that we can support and assist our agents with strategies and bundling and putting together a package for your clients. Really, the key is helping them understand the trade-offs and guiding them to the right fit for their situation.
Comes back once again to doing what is best for your client. So let's think about that. We've talked about the potential to segue into a health insurance conversation. We've talked about segueing into a life insurance conversation. But is it actually possible for an agent to talk about and sell both of those things in the same appointment? Because we want to make sure that we are doing things compliantly. And are there any compliance considerations that we should be keeping in mind?
Yeah, that's a great question. And this is actually going to be a big advantage in the under 65 market. So unlike Medicare, where you do have restrictions around discussing health and life products within that same appointment, those limitations don't apply here. So that's going to give an agent the flexibility to have a more holistic conversation, address both health coverage and financial protection at the same time. With that said, you do still need to follow marketplace compliance requirements. So if you're doing an individual health plan enrollment, you need to have proper consent and documentation before you assist the agent with the application. But truly from a product standpoint, you can absolutely combine those conversations. And I think it makes a lot of sense to do that.
And that's fantastic, because if you're sitting down and you're talking about certain things anyway, one conversation kind of leads to another. And if you sell in the under 65 market, you don't have to worry about that. Wait, hold on. We need to have you sign a scope, interrupt the process. This just lets it happen and flow naturally. And then you're able to continue that conversation. So if we are already active, say we're already active in the under 65 market, we're selling ACA plans, how can we introduce life insurance in those conversations? I think sometimes we get really stuck in our heads about, oh my gosh, how do I do this? What do I say? It's going to come off as awkward. I'm going to come across as being super pushy. How do we do it in a way that isn't awkward and comes across as we are just trying to do what's in the best interest of our clients?
Great question, Sarah. I think so many times agents that are very experienced and knowledgeable on the health side sometimes tend to overcomplicate things in their head, right? They think it's some sort of strategy or approach or concept. And really, I think most of the relationship building has already been done with your client. So I think it's as simple as just asking, what do you have for life insurance? If they say none, then, okay, well, what is the plan if Danica were to replace your income? What is that plan? And simply asking that. One thing that happened during COVID, if you recall, I don't think you could turn on a station or a TV channel that wasn't keeping a ticker of cases and death. And it really brought to our forefront and our focus our mortality. And it did bring forth this understanding that, hey, I do need life insurance, right? It was, I believe, that time period affected everybody individually in all sorts of different ways. But one thing that was inescapable, regardless of who you were or where you were, was the constant reminder of death. So I think that really brought that to our minds as a society. But even prior to that, people know they need life insurance, right? If you offered somebody free life insurance, nobody would turn that down, right? So everybody knows that you need it. Nobody's ignorant of how life insurance works. Hey, how does life insurance work? Well, I pay a premium. If I die, I get money. Okay, great. What people don't necessarily understand, and I think this is really at its core, the stumbling block for life insurance is there's just this fear of the unknown, right? There's this fear of the unknown. It's how does it work? How do I get it? Am I getting a good deal? All these sorts of questions that there's just this fear of what the process is like. What am I getting? Is it of good value? I do think that with modern day technology, the internet, social media, that type of stuff, I think understanding and learning about life insurance has become more readily accessible than ever before. So I think that's why we're seeing all-time records set. The first quarter of this year was an all-time record in life insurance applications, according to LIMRA, which is Life Insurance Market Research Association. So I think that fear is gradually coming down, but it still is prevalent. And the other is the assumption that it's too expensive. These are the two things, right? A fear of unknown and a fear that's too expensive. Truth defeats fear, right? Understanding, bringing to light these answers to people, to our clients, is really what can help get people over that hump for life insurance. That's a long answer behind a short question. I think the best way is just to ask, right? You already have this relationship a lot of the time. If you don't have a relationship, a business relationship with this person or client, obviously they're coming to you or there's some sort of way that you guys were introduced, really just asking that question and starting that conversation. We don't necessarily have to solve for it right then and there. We don't have to necessarily be an expert on everything all the time right away. I don't think people expect that, but I think as agents, we have that expectation of ourselves, especially if you're a seasoned health agent. You guys know stuff inside and out better than any vertical within the agent industry, right? Health agents know their product. They know their business. So there's this natural migration to wanting to know that on the life side as well. It's a little different on the life side, right? People don't have that expectation that you are going to need to know everything right away. There aren't time periods, right? There aren't clocks that are ticking on the life and annuity side. So I think I don't necessarily want to overcomplicate it. There are strategies, there are concepts to help with selling life insurance. But in context of our conversation, I really think the best thing is just to ask, just to start that conversation. Hey, what are you doing for life insurance right now? If they say, here's what I got, then great, have a conversation around that. If they say, I don't have anything, then say, why is that? Well, okay. Well, what's the plan if this were to happen? Having those conversations with your client, I think is, again, like you said, Sarah, always be educating, right? I'm a big proponent of question-based selling, right? Asking questions, finding their actual need, and then presenting a solution for that need. And I think you can do that in that type of conversation or that concept. You know, under 65, active in the ACA, who tends to be the best fit as far as those conversations? I think everybody, especially people under 65 that you're talking to, because if you're a Medicare agent, then if they're under 65, you really don't have a sale, right? People with employee health insurance, if you're getting your insurance through your employer, you don't need ACA, right? Life insurance is the one product that you can sell to anyone. So it's different than ACA. It's different than Medicare. It's even different than annuities, right? For the most part, people looking to purchase annuities are very retirement mindseted, right? They're thinking about retirement and they have those funds to place in that annuity contract. Life insurance is the one product that can transcend any situation. That's why I think agents really need to look at life insurance not as a product, but as a strategy to be able to retain clients and acquire new ones, right? Life insurance is the only product that you can walk onto the soccer field, have a conversation with anybody there, and be able to put them in a better situation and be able to help protect them financially. If you're at the grocery store, if you're at your child's school, it doesn't matter, right? Life insurance is one thing where it doesn't matter if you're under 65. It doesn't matter if you're self-employed or employed by an employer. It doesn't matter if you have $200,000 or $300,000 to invest in an annuity contract. Life insurance is different with that. But what life insurance does is it helps you not only to acquire those new clients everywhere you go, but it also helps you to retain the clients you have, right? If you have clients that are in that 55 to 64 range, boy, wouldn't that be nice to have a product in that household that gives you a reason every year to touch base with them and see how things are doing, do a policy review kit, and guess what? When they turn 65, that Medicare sale is almost all but guaranteed. So I think it's something that we keep simple, right? have conversations, ask about it, don't overcomplicate the wheel. And who does it fit? Everybody. It's a whole different type of product compared to a lot of the other insurance products out there.
I like what you said there, Bobby. Just ask. Just ask them. And the fact too that as you're going through, if you're really not sure how to talk to people, just ask questions. That's the easiest way to get to the bottom of what you're trying to find out, what you need to know. In fact, we actually have a fact finder PDF that if you're not sure what you should be asking about, we have that. We can link it in the notes as far as what you need to do. It's all laid out there. So that's just one of the tools that we have, but we want to talk about some other tools that we have, tools and resources from both the Ritter side and the Integrity Life and Annuities side that we can use as agents to get started implementing what we've learned here today and start talking about life insurance.
Yeah, so I can kick that section off. And I did want to mention the fact finder. So I love that you brought that up. Love that we have that resource.
Agreed.
It's great. If you don't know where to start the conversation, it's helpful for you. And maybe as you get more comfortable with that, you may not need that anymore. And you're just able to work through that more organically. But I'd say we offer a variety of support for agents getting into the market. One of the key resources is the Life and Annuities Resource Center, LARC, which includes on-demand trainings, contracting support, electronic enrollment tool access. We also have a dedicated life and annuity section on the Ritter platform with easy access to carrier information, resources, and support contacts. And I know maybe not traditionally looked at as a resource, but I think our people and the teams and knowing how to get you to the right person to have the right conversation, that's a real value add and asset. So our More Than Medicare team is available to serve as a liaison and support in working with Integrity Life and Annuities on those opportunities.
Bobby, is there anything else you'd like to mention?
Yeah, there is. I think Danica is spot on with the people. The people at Ritter are different than a lot of the other IMOs, FMOs out there. I would say to the agents that are listening to this conversation that are with Ritter, kudos to you. Great job on the decision you made. Those that are not currently with Ritter, give them a call. You got to get a hold of this organization to see what it is they offer. And just some of the decisions that they have made over the past 4 to 5, 6 years really facilitates long-term success for their agents. And what do I mean by that? Is just being a part of the Integrity organization, right? That's great. That gives them deep access to technology and resources and stuff of that nature. But even within that, it's partnering with Integrity Life and Annuities, understanding that there's someone within the household that can help support those efforts. So at Integrity Life and Annuities, we have everything on the life and annuity space that any agent out there could possibly want. We have not only the digital platform, as Danica said, with LARC, to support people that are ready for the 21st century tools and that type of stuff, but we also have the live agent support. A lot of times I say we're old school, right? You call an 800 number, one of the gals up front or one of the guys up front are going to answer your phone, say hello, and ask what you need, okay? We don't necessarily have a phone system where it's press 1 for this, press 2 for that. We have Integrity Life and Annuities. The origins of that organization go back all the way to 1983. And so we've been in the business for a long time. We know what it means to treat agents with white glove service. We know what it's like to be an agent. We know what it's like to support agents. So whether it's calling us anytime between 8 to 5 Central and getting a live voice and asking someone, hey, I had a conversation, where do I go from here? Or, hey, I'm on the website and I'm looking at this. Or, hey, I heard this on Fox News. Whatever it may be, right? Give us a call and we're able to help and have those conversations. We also have an agent portal called Business Builder. So if you are a member of Ritter and you're within their organization, they have a platform that's called Business Builder. It's an agent platform with tons of technology, tons of tools that you're going to be able to access and utilize. But we also have at Integrity Life and Annuities access to carriers. Like I said, self-service tools, real deep understanding of advanced markets and all sorts of life insurance and annuity concepts, as well as partners and industry experts that we partner with. Underwriting services, right? I would say that a lot of times when I speak with seasoned health agents, there tends to be questions or a perception around underwriting. One of the things also that came out of COVID was really the insurance carriers sharpening their pencil when it came to underwriting certain health conditions, right? It's not your grandpappy's life insurance is what I say anymore, right? There's policies out there now that can get issued within a matter of minutes. And you can fill out questions within 5 minutes. It really is a different world when it comes to life insurance. But for those situations where there are maybe some health conditions, we have a really deep underwriting staff here that can help with answering questions and putting us with carriers and products that can serve your clients' needs. We have a full back office support. So whether it's assisting, contracting, Ritter can help with that. New business, Ritter has that. Sales support, Ritter has that. Compliance, Ritter has that. Marketing tools, training platforms, lead tools, technology, all this stuff is available to the Ritter family. So again, that's kind of why I say kudos to you as an agent for choosing to partner with that organization and taking advantage of all that they've put together.
Well, thank you so much. Those are really kind words, Bobby. Very nice to hear that our efforts are being noticed. So I think it's fair to say we have a lot of tools and we have a lot of resources. And the reason we have those is because we have the same idea when it comes to how we treat our agents and what we want our agents to be able to take advantage of the resources. We want you to have the knowledge, same as we're trying to teach our agents to demonstrate and do to their clients. So do either of you have any last minute thoughts, anything that you want to share, anything that we have not touched on today that you really want the audience listening to remember today?
I would say if we've piqued your interest and you're looking for some next steps on where to get started and you're already active in the under 65 space, my advice to you would be number 1, review your book of business for opportunities. Number 2, call us so we can help you identify how you can get started. Do you have the right license in place? Do you need to complete trainings for that? Getting contracted with carriers, finding the right fit in your market. And 3, if you're not sure how to get those conversations started, take advantage of that fact finder.
Bobby, anything that you'd like to add?
Yeah, I would just say in closing, anybody who's listening to this message, if you are a health agent, a new health agent, or a seasoned health agent, reach out to Ritter. If you're a dedicated life or annuity specialist, maybe that's your bread and butter, you happen to stumble upon this, and you've been selling annuities for 20 years, reach out to Ritter. If you're a new agent, just getting started, where do I go? I've sold a few policies to some friends and families. What's going to be my specialty? What should I do? Reach out to Ritter. The tools and resources and assets behind this organization is unparalleled across the country. This organization can compete with any IMO in the nation. And so I would just say, regardless of where you're at in your career path, this is an organization that can help point you in the right direction and give you the skills, give you the tools and the resources that you need to succeed.
Well, Bobby, Danica, thank you both so much for being here. And thank you for answering my questions today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And Bobby, thanks for all the kind words. And we wouldn't be where we are today without the support of Integrity Life and Annuities.
Yeah, you bet. No worries, ladies.
Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Just want to say thanks again to Bobby Nerem and Danica Stover for sharing their insight on this powerful strategy. We mentioned a few resources during our conversation, like the Life and Annuities Resource Center, as well as how to reach out to the team here at Ritter Insurance Marketing, the FMO that powers this podcast. Thanks so much for listening. If you like what you heard, please follow along with our show and leave a review. We would love to hear your feedback. The Agent Survival Guide podcast is a production of Ritter Insurance Marketing, an Integrity company. Special thanks to our guests, Bobby Nerem and Danica Stover. Recording and production by me, Sarah Ruppel. Podcast designed by Urban Rivera. Like what you hear? Follow along with our show where you're listening right now.